Our podcast is a part of the World Podcast Network, now with over 1,000 podcasts. Visit the World Podcast Network at worldpodcast.network to listen to podcasts in over 12 genres. Come vote our podcast episodes up and help us rise on the leaderboard. If you have a podcast of your own, you can join for free. Welcome to Reality Tea Times 2, the podcast where we discuss all the trash reality TV we love to hate. I'm Tanika, and today we are going to be discussing last week's episode of The Other Way. But before we hop into that, let's do some hot goss. It's been a little bit. So, first thing, Big Ed. Ew, I gotta say that over again. Ed is again now a single man. Great. So less than a week after the proposal heard around the world, where he proposed to 29-year-old Portia Raymond, just 24 hours after meeting her, at a fan meet and greet, Ed confirmed that their engagement has ended, saying, quote, "Love is a crazy thing. I did something that was impulsive. I asked this girl to marry me, and after considering, it's too soon and it's not really what I want, obviously." What? He said this in a post on his Instagram on September 23rd, if you're interested in seeing it, I don't know. He continued on to say, "After talking to my family," because he actually cares what his family thinks, "I realized that I don't want to get married. I want to be single. So I wish her, Portia, the best in life." He also shared the news in a post on his Instagram stories, as he called the proposal a whirlwind and admittedly a very impulsive moment. After some deep reflection and discussions with those closest to me, I've realized that rushing into this decision wasn't the right move. I have nothing but respect and love for Portia, and I wish her the best moving forward. After proposing to Portia, Ed told Page Six that it was love at first sight, as he recalled being amazed when she walked in, calling her this beautiful Italian dish. Ew. Describing her as his dream girl, he said they immediately hit it off at the fan meet and greet event in Plantation, Florida, and made plans for the following night. During dinner at YOLO restaurant in Fort Lauderdale, he told a friend, "Dude, this is the one. I want to ask her to marry me." God, this guy's gross. With his friend's encouragement, the reality star made a makeshift ring out of a paperclip, if we remember, got down on one knee and said everyone in the restaurant went quote-unquote crazy. "I told her, look, I never want to let you go. I think I met the one. I want to marry you." And she said, yes, and we hugged and we kissed. Disgusting. Really and truly disgusting on everybody's part. But that's basically that. Next piece of hot goss, this I will post. I realize there's some things I haven't posted quite yet, but I'll get to it. There's another thing I'm going to post for you all to see. Danielle, miserable bitch Danielle, and Johan, I think are back together. There's a picture here of them together that was posted. Can't get the exact date it was posted recently though. And yeah, someone wrote in the caption, "She'd be missing that D." I mean, I guess it doesn't seem quite worth it to me, but anyway, that's basically that. I will post this so everyone else can see. But yeah, good luck to you two, I guess. And for the last piece of hot goss, this is Sister Wives related, and this might be kind of around the topic of Garrison's passing, so just trigger warning about that if you want to skip it a little bit. Go straight into the actual episode, probably just skip maybe 2-3 minutes. So starting now. After the tragic loss of Garrison Brown back in March, the family has been struggling more than ever While everyone rallied around Janelle, Cody and Robin were once again left behind to fend for themselves. Right? Right. But it turns out that the Browns haven't written the couple off for fun. So this is kind of, we did talk about this a little bit in the Sister Wives episode. So I was going to go a little deeper into it in this episode about what exactly is kind of going on or what really is being told. So McKelty has confirmed that there is a rift between them. She has, as we know, has always been extremely active on Patreon and updated followers just before the newest season aired. One fan asked about the family dynamic since the funeral, with McKelty confirming she and Robin were no longer close. She responded by saying, "We try very hard to say what we can while respecting our families and relationships. We don't lie." To give you some insights, it's true we have always been super supportive of Robin. Of late, of course she said of lately, but that's not the right thing, it's of late. It may seem that has changed. McKelty said things that happened during the recent funeral that are reason for that. As photos surfaced of the funeral, fans could see Robin sitting in the front row with Cody, but they still couldn't figure out what exactly went wrong. So, I mean, I suspect kind of what we mentioned in the episode as well is that this is probably something that's going to be a part of the show, and probably why we haven't gotten more information exactly what's happened. So I imagine based on the timeline, we're probably gonna maybe see that next season. Or depending on how much they span, which I don't think so. I think they usually span about a year. I imagine we're probably not going to see that in this season. It's probably going to be next season where we will see the tragic passing of Garrison, as well as, I guess, what causes this rift. So I would say if you guys really want to know, sit tight and we'll find out soon enough, I guess. But that's basically that for Hot Goss. We're going to jump into the episode now. So, season 6, episode 13. There's something about JoJo. Like there's something about Mary, but anyways. So we have Joanne and Sean first. So Joanne and the boys kind of go aside to talk amongst themselves about the news that has come out about the now marriage. And she asked them with a smile plastered on her face. "So, what do y'all think about about our news? Where's your smile? Why is the smile here? Get rid of the smile. No one wants to see your smile. In this case, you have lied to your sons for 2 years. So, get that smirk off your face and make this actually come off as a serious thing." So, it's like she's pleased. Honestly, it feels like she is pleased with herself. Like, her words say one thing, but her actions say another. Same with him. She explains that she wanted them to meet him before telling them about it, but again, they already know. If you really cared that much, you wouldn't have married him before your kids met him. I'm just gonna put that out there. Like, your one kid would have been 16, 17, let's say. Like, if you could have just waited. Let your kids meet him. Because now they don't have a choice. I think they feel anyways that they don't have a choice but to like him because he's now their stepfather. So it's ridiculous that she would go about it this way. Like, allow them to know him prior to actually marrying him. They are a little overwhelmed. And she kind of explains, like, the whole thing was meant for just for us, blah, 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 because they're selfish. And Jesse asks, "Where are we living now then, since you guys are married?" And it's in this moment, it's like one thing after another. She spews on them, or springs on them, I should say, sorry. She would like to make Ireland home base. She would love for them to be able to move to Ireland. Of course, with custody arrangements, it's not going to be that easy. Of course, Joey's older, so he can do what he wants. Joey doesn't know, um, you know, if whether or not he wants to live here, but he says, like, if we don't want to live here, like, where would we stay in New York? She explains that she will still have the house, they'll still have that place to go to in New York, but for how long? when eventually do you say, okay, we need to sell the house? You know what I mean? And she says, like, I will still have, she have the house, but you're still the most important thing to me. But your actions say differently, but okay. You're the most important thing to me. And yes, I want this to be home base, but not without your blessing, not without you guys being okay with it. But did you care about their blessing when when you married this man? No. But they do say, like, they're just gonna need some time to process. So they leave the castle, and they're kind of realizing that the kids are that the other is now their step-parent. And Shauna's like, "Okay, yeah, you can call me daddy." Ew. I mean, from a different perspective, that's one thing. This perspective, it feels weird. But Joanne is anticipating that there's still gonna be some stuff coming from Noelle, because obviously she's upset. And he thought that Bella would actually be a little happier than she actually is. Because you constantly say, oh, you and Joanne should get married. But, sir, then why did you keep from her that you two were even together? That doesn't make sense to me. Anyway, they get back to the rental, and he goes and talks to Bella alone. So this is his alone time now with her. And she tells him, you need a better brain. But she is not mad. She's like, though, if you have any secrets you don't tell me, then I won't forgive you. Like, if you have any secrets, just tell me right there and then. So she's okay. Then we see Noelle calling Joanne's mom, and she doesn't question that there is love here, that he loves her. But mom straight up says, like, I'm not okay with the idea of her moving to Ireland. Those are my grandsons. And she's just not. But then Sean and Joanne, they're talking alone, and they're kind of just like, I think everyone's okay with, all of these changes, but like, who really knows? But that's basically it. Not much else to say. Um, let's move on to James and Tata. So it has only been a week since he's been there. They're going to immigration because he still needs to get a visa to stay there. They have agreed that the banana chip business isn't going to be a lucrative one for them, but they have started a jewelry business back in the States, so maybe she can kind of do that. I don't see how that's going to be lucrative either, but I'm just saying. In the way that they need it to be to pay off a $700 car bill. But anyway, then they kind of start talking about JoJo. And he explains that he's done some more research, which again, don't understand why you wouldn't have done this prior to moving to Indonesia. But hey, again, people don't Google on this show. But he finds out that even if they're able to get JoJo there safely, they will never be able to get JoJo back into the States. So they would be permanently separated from JoJo if they were to bring him to Indonesia. So what do y'all do then? Do you all stay in Indonesia, or do you go back to the States and go back to absolutely nothing because you quit your job, your family's disowned you, and of course, like, she doesn't want to go back. But I do wonder, like, if you care so much about JoJo, because she lives here too, then wouldn't that not be enough for you then to go back to the States? You know what I mean? Because she's like, can we go there and visit him? With what money? He basically says. And yeah. But anyway, everyone's crying at this point because we all miss JoJo. JoJo is their kid and blah blah blah. Let's move on to the next scene. They're downtown now. They're gonna go get some food. I can't remember exactly what it is that they got, but yeah, whatever it is, like, he got like a non-spicy and she got a spicy. And he does try the spicy one, And at first he's like, "Oh, it's not too bad." Like, he's, like, choking. He's like I swear to God, he probably couldn't breathe. And she says to him, "It's been a week." Um, or she says, I guess to the camera, actually, that it's been a week. And I still think, like, he still hasn't gotten used to being here. Ma'am, in the 5 years that you were living in the States, did you get used to being in the States, or, like, did you struggle right up to the point you moved back to Indonesia? Give him a little bit of time here. And he starts talking about the car and about JoJo, kind of the biggest things here that is, maybe giving him some pause. And he says, like, worst case scenario, like, what if, we can't get ourselves, like, situated here, um, and I want to go back. Would you come back with me? She says, maybe. And again, on the one hand, I'm kind of like, that's a little bit frustrating because I'm like, why not give him a straight answer? But at the same time, he does it to her when it comes to kids. And he says as much. So it's like, that's not too crazy of a thing, I guess, right? That you are not going to give or expect like a straight answer or whatever, right? So they kind of talk a bit about the kid situation, and he does ask her, like, when is like the maximum time you think you'd want to wait till in order to start having kids? And she says, well, I'm almost 28, so the maximum she'd be willing to wait is 33, which I think is actually really reasonable. Because sure as hell that wasn't my number. My number was I do not want to be 30. But again, my situation, it may be a little different than hers, but when you're dealing with like a medical issue, and like I am dealing with a medical issue a little differently than she is, 33 is like, whoa. Me, I would be like, nah. I said, I do not want to be 32 without starting that process. And I was 31, a little over 31. So 33 is generous, very generous for him to get his shit together. Because she does worry, like, what if I can't get pregnant? And that's the thing, like, if you try, quote unquote, naturally and it doesn't work, you might need to go to the fertility clinic. And then that's another year gone, right? Like, he's wasting her time if she really wants to have kids. And that's what's frustrating. So, and he says, what if I just never see myself having kids? And she does say, like, what is the purpose of marriage? Now, that's how she sees things. Everyone's idea of what marriage is or should look like is different. People get married and not have kids or don't want to have kids. People get married because they do want to have kids. Like, everyone's idea is very different on how they handle things like this. And he does say, like, because we want to be together, which I understand what he's saying. But for her, the reason one gets married is yes to spend the rest of your life with this person, but it's to also start a family with someone. Otherwise, like, why would we have gotten married? Right? Now, for their purposes, they had to K-1 visa and all, right? But it's just like, I hear what she's saying. I hear what he's saying. But again, like, y'all need to meet in the middle. And he says, like, can you see me being enough? And she's like, you would be enough for me, but I would not be complete without kids. And I think he really needs to take that seriously. Either he needs to really start thinking about being a father, or he really needs to get pretty serious with himself by saying, okay, well, I don't want to hold you back as hard as that may be. And it's a very selfless thing. You want your person to be happy, even if it means not being with you, you know? But anyways, that's it for them. Let's go to Josh and Lily. It's very, very quick. You blink, you miss it. So Josh has a surprise for Lily. They're going to be doing like traditional Chinese dancing, and we meet Rose, who is the dance instructor. We change into our traditional clothing. Lily looked really pretty in what she was wearing. Josh just looks like Josh. It's fine. And then they're doing the dancing, and everything seemed to be pretty good. Like, they seem to be in a better place. They connected, whatever, right? Like, it was sweet, and the dancing looked really nice. That's it. That's all I have because it was, again, you blinked and you missed it. There'll be more for the next episode with them. But that is it for Josh and Lily. Let's move on to Corona and Inky. So, Inky really hates traffic, and he's taking her to kind of like a group meetup with other Black people who live in Iceland. And when they get there and she's walking to the place where she's meeting these people, I wrote, what in the Lord's Jesus is she wearing on her feet? She slipped and she fall. She can't sue because they're gonna look at your footwear and be like, yeah, no. Um, and then not only that, but these like spiked halter thing that she's wearing as well. Like, it's a look, but not a look to just a regular old meeting with people you don't even know. Anyway, um, but she's meeting the group, and these guys have been in Iceland for many, many years. Like, one has been there for like 32 years, one's been there for like 20 or something like that. Like, they've been here a long time. And they explained to her kind of like the most important thing about living in Iceland, going to work, going to school in her case, is learning the language, which is not an easy language to learn. But the guy there that's there, this kind of meet up, kind of says, he's gotten like blatantly rude things we said to him from other people, um, because like they're not used to seeing Black people in Iceland, because who's moving to Iceland with the color of my skin? That's all I'm saying. But then we talk about Corona going to school, and they say, like, have you looked into what you have to do in order to be able to qualify to go to school? And she says, no, I probably should have. Yeah, you probably should. Like, again, you're moving to another country, wanting to go to midwifery school. You have been accepted to one of the Ivy League schools, one of the top schools in the country. And we find out later she had tried many, many times. It wasn't her first try getting into Penn, and she gets in, and then she forfeits. Are you stupid? I I can't. Anyways, that's for another episode. But she said it could take time, um, for her to be certified, or they say it would be prone to take time for her to be certified. Um, don't know how long exactly, because she does ask that question, because every person's situation is different. And not only that, but even the person you're dealing with could be very different. Um, and they do say, like, kind of prepare yourself to have a lot of back and forth. Um, you also have to know how to, you know how to speak the language, read the language, especially if you're going to be working in hospitals. Like, you're going to have people who speak Icelandic and you don't know the language. So Krona is okay with waiting a few months, but anything longer than that is just not going to work for her. So let's go over to the next scene where we're going to find out it's not going to work for her. She's going for an information session at the midwifery school. She is told that she would need to know Icelandic, and she will need to also be licensed as a nurse in Icelandic. Sorry, not Icelandic. God, in Iceland. Sorry, not Iceland. That's wrong. Um, um, and yeah, she thought that the courses would be in English. Why did you think that? You're in Iceland where the first language, or the main language, I don't even know if English is the main language in Iceland. I don't know. But you're going to a country that the main language is Icelandic. Why in the Lord's name would you think that English is gonna be an option in this country, and any of the schools in this country? Where did you get that information? Apparently Google, but she also said she didn't read through properly. So there's that. Um And she also does ask the questions about, like, the interview process as well. Would that be in Icelandic? Yes, it will be. So she's really gonna need to know. So when she asks about, like, the deadline, when's the deadline for that? Y'all, she missed the deadline by like a week or two. And guess what? You only get to apply for midwifery school once a year. So she's going to have to wait at minimum another year before she can apply to midwifery school. That does not include the fact that she needs to learn a language and also be licensed as a nurse in Iceland. So we're looking easily for an international student at least 2 years. At least. So I'm going to guess that doesn't work for you, huh? Like, oh, no one goes to do any Google searches or anything. It's ridiculous to me. But anyways, yes, this was a pretty short episode because again, with Toe, it's so frustrating for me. They really missed the mark with this season, I feel. Like the season started off strong and then we've just kind of fallen off. And again, there was no Shekinah and Sarper. Trust me, he comes back and I'm so excited to talk about it. Without Shekinah, I'm not even so much Shekinah's boring. Without Sarper, we don't have at least something to laugh at. And instead, I'm just kind of nodding my head, like shaking my head, like I cannot believe these people. So it's it's not a fun season. I don't know what happened. So these episodes are definitely going to be shorter. Anyways, so that is it for this episode. So I think I'm going to go in order. So you would have gotten Selling Sunset, the final episode of Selling Sunset in the morning, earlier in the day. So this is the next episode you're going to be getting is this one. Um, but I think that's probably going to be it. There's going to be a break on Thursday. I don't think I'll have any episodes to go out on Thursday, but you'll have these episodes to come to you on Wednesday because I am going to be in the office physically Wednesday, Thursday, so there won't be any episode potentially coming out on Thursday. I do have an episode ready for you to go, but I have to get B90 season episode 4 out to you first. So with that in mind, there's not going to be probably an episode. It takes me too long to record B90. So that is going to be it. So basically, the next episode that you can expect, I'm going to work on getting episodes done for you for Friday. I'm not sure if you're going to get one in the morning Fridays, but you'll probably get one Friday nights. That could be anything ranging from B90 to Sister Wives to 11's Blind. I'm not sure. I haven't quite decided, but you'll be getting an episode sometime Friday night, and that's going to go into the weekend as well. So yeah, I think that's basically it for this episode. And we'll be back to normal programming, hopefully by Friday night with whatever episode I decide to release. But that is it for this episode. So if you like what you heard, please rate, review the podcast on either Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Also, don't forget that you can also share us with everyone in your life if you really love this. And I do want to read those reviews. I'm definitely getting 5-star ratings, but I want to read those reviews. So send me those reviews and I will read those 4 and 5-star reviews on the podcast. Also, we're on every one of your favorite podcast apps. Every one of them, including you can find us on YouTube at Reality Tea Times 2. If you want to connect with us, you can do so by going to either Facebook or Instagram at Reality Tea Times 2. You can also find us on Twitter, TikTok, Reddit at Reality Tea Times 2 Pod. We also have our email, which is at realityteatimes2 at hotmail.com. Definitely want to hear from you guys. And we also have our new website where you can listen to all of these episodes. You can review the podcast on there as well. You can connect with me in any way, all the stuff. It's all there, and you can find me there at www.realityteatimes2, all spelled out, .podpage.io. It's there. And Don't forget, I also have my other podcast with my friend Mikkel, Next Take Podcast, where we talk about all kinds of different topics. But you can find us on any of your favorite podcast apps over there as well. Or you can also go to YouTube and you go to Next Take Podcast, as well as our website, which is solo.to/Next Take Podcast. So yeah, there's with that, and that's basically that. And again, don't forget, if all of this information is overwhelming, we do have all of the links, everything in our show notes. But that is it for now, guys. Thanks. Bye.